All right, well, negotiations over Iran's agreement to curb its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief were set to resume following a Christmas break. But these talks have been hampered by several American lawmakers who really just don't trust the deal and who want new sanctions in place if Iran breaks any of its promises. LAW WEBSTER, a former United Nations political affairs officer with the Department of Disarmament Affairs, joins us now in the studio. Lucy, these American politicians, what are they trying to do here, and could it really muck up the deal that the Secretary of State has been trying to put together?
Well, they're trying to be threatening to Iran and friendly to Israel, and show that the United States is strong, and determined. But it isn't a good idea, because it sort of puts the skids on the efforts that Secretary Kerry has been making and that previous American State Department officials have made to try to calm things down. So it doesn't calm things down.
Do you think that ongoing talks can be successful going forward? I mean, sanctions, notwithstanding, in terms of trying to disarm Iran and their nuclear program?
I don't know if it's really possible to make much difference, but what is possible is to keep it stable and to keep them from hyping up their nuclear program. I mean, it may be actually true, as they claim, that they're only doing the stuff for civilian purposes. We don't know that, really. But the best way to keep it in that mode is to play gentle and calm.
Right, and you have certainly, been witnessing this this kind of relation for a long period of time,
yes.
and Israel is very much in the middle of it all. But the U.S. doesn't not have nuclear weapons themselves, or ourselves, do we?
There are about 2,000 and, I don't know, 200 nuclear weapons in the world, and 2,000 of them are in the United States or Russia, 1,000 in the United States and 1,000 in Russia. And quite a few countries, non-nuclear weapon states, resent the fact that there are 5 countries which, according to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, have been told they may have nuclear weapons. This is those 2 countries, the United States, Russia, France, Britain and China.
Sure.
So that produces resentment. Why can't we have some? And especially when the United States tends to threaten sometimes.
And I think there's a big overriding fear that Iran and President Rouhani, that they aren't to be trusted. But are they to be trusted? He's new.
Well, he's better than his predecessors. And so one of the main things the United States is trying to do is to avoid getting worse, more extremist governments in Iran, partly for the sake of the interests of the Iranian people, but also to prevent military things from erupting, because the previous leadership was much more aggressive than Rouhani.
Clearly, as I mentioned, Israel's right in the middle of this, and
right.
They have a vested interest in, they've spoken quite clearly, Benjamin Netanyahu, about their thoughts on Iran. What is the possible threat there? I mean, what could happen? Could Israel take action against Iran if they don't believe that they're cooling it?
Well, that's the most likely terrible thing that probably will not happen, but it's more likely that Israel would take some sort of action than Iran would, because now that we have fairly sensible leadership in Iran, they're not going to risk having Israel wipe them off the face of the earth. I mean, if Iran used a nuclear weapon against Israel, that would give Israel an excuse to retaliate, and goodness knows what a mess we'd have.
So, at the end of the day, with this bill being proposed by Congress about these new sanctions, is there even any possibility of that happening, or is this more grandstanding? I
think it's grandstanding. Of course, it may be passed, but that doesn't mean that it will make any difference in the international politics.
All right, LAW WEBSTER, we thank you so much for your perspective, and we will continue to monitor the situation, and perhaps you can continue to consult with us on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.